Hey everybody, this is going to be a, well, not really a first look video, or, well, really a review. It's kind of like my impressions slash ramblings on Total War Warhammer 2, and basically I'm just talking to you right now, and then I will overlay the game later. And it's, you know, some of the stuff I talk about, it's not really going to match. It's just going to be a version of me playing lizardmen on Legendary, which is really, Legendary is awesome. So I guess I'll start with that. I love difficult games. I love to make things difficult on me, and I love the legendary difficulty. I love the, like, for example, in Paradox, they call it not hardcore, Ironman mode, and it doesn't let you save automatically. It doesn't let you just, you know, save at a certain point, like, oh, if I go over here and I die, I can always go back to here and restore my save point. It doesn't let you do that. It saves it automatically at, you know, I think every turn maybe, and I love that because if you die, you're dead. If you make a fatal mistake, you are dead. And I absolutely love that hardcore mode. I love how Paradox has, I actually like the way that they do it more. Creative Assembly and Warhammer Crew, I love the way that they do it because they say, yes, you can play this legendary mode. Yes, we have a couple achievements that you can only get on legendary, like the legendary achievement. But the great thing about it is they don't say the only way you can get achievements is if you play in legendary. That is a problem because on Paradox, I love to play multiplayer. I love to play with my friends, but you cannot do that in Paradox games if you want to get achievements. And, you know, say what you will about achievements, but they really extend the life of a game to me. I love to try to get achievements. I don't feel like I have to get every single achievement, but I like getting them. They're out there. They're part of the game to me. They really are. And they really extend the life of a game to me. And that's the reason why I love achievements so much. However, part of the problem with the way Paradox does it is they say, like, oh, well, the integrity of achievement is so great that we can only allow it in single player. And I think that that's absolutely, you know what, that might be true, but most of the people out there aren't cheaters. And what does it matter if someone else has the same achievement as you? I get them because it helps me play a game. It helps replayability for me. It doesn't matter if someone else has the same achievement. I like knowing that I have the achievement. So if someone wants to cheat and get the achievements, then I don't care about that. But I guess I'm in the minority. A lot of people love, especially who play the Paradox games, they love that you can only get achievements on hardcore when you're playing single player, because other players in multiplayer can affect the outcome of the game, but it totally kills the game for me, like I said, because I like to play it multiplayer. I like to play it with mods, but if you like to do either of those two things, you cannot do it and get achievements. I understand why. I don't like it, because achievements are there for me. I don't care about if anybody else wants to get achievements. Again, if they want to cheat and get it and they feel happy about that, then that's their own prerogative. I think that you're a ridiculous human being if you think if you want to cheat to get an achievement. Well, what does that say about you? So if they want to do that, then that's fine. I like to do mods that allow me to, you know, do certain things or change certain aspects of the game. But if you do that with a Paradox game and it changes the checksum, so you can do something like change the visual overlay, but if it changes the game at all in the slightest, you can't get achievements. And so I'll stop talking about that for now. Anyway, let's get into the gameplay. I absolutely love, well, first of all, I'll start with this. I loved, you already might know about something called DarthMod. It was this guy who hated how, well, I guess I'll go back even further. If you wanted to play the game of Total War on hard difficulty, the computer cheated. I remember I did this. I pitted one of my unit versus one of the AI unit. They were exactly the same. And I pitted them against each other, and on the harder difficulties, the computer always ran. And this was with, I did numerous tests, this was with both of us basically charging at each other, running at each other, and you lost every time. The computer cheated. I hated it. It drove me insane because I wanted the hard difficulty without the computer cheating. I just wanted them to be smarter. And so, this guy called, well, actually, I don't know his name, but this guy named DarthMod, he went through and he created these mods, DarthMod. They were hard, but they were beautiful because they made the game harder without cheating. They made the AI smarter. And if you have played this game before, you probably know what I'm talking about. And so this guy, I forget exactly what happened, but the important thing is that he went off and created his own games he went off and created his own version called Gettysburg, and Ultimate General Gettysburg, and they are pretty amazing. They are very amazing games. I've only played the Gettysburg game. He does have Ultimate General Civil War that encompasses the entire Civil War, and I almost got that game instead of Total War because I love the realism of the combat. I love the shooting. It's just the sounds of the soldiers marching. The sounds of that game are absolutely amazing. If you want a challenging game that doesn't cheat, I can't, I mean, there's nothing like the Ultimate General Civil War or Ultimate General Gettysburg. You can play it single player, you can play it multiplayer, you can, they both have campaigns that you progress through. In Gettysburg, obviously it's a shorter series, but it takes you through all stages of the Gettysburg battle, and that was I don't know, I studied that in high school. That's a very interesting battle. Anyway, I cannot recommend those games enough. However, there's something to be said about being able to zoom into your troops and see them kill the enemy up close and personal. There's something to be said about just zooming in and watching your big rhinoceros charge into the enemy lines and watching the enemies go flying, or if you're a fan of the more traditional games, you know, having that big heavy cavalry unit with lances and, you know, driving into the enemy. There's just nothing like it, and that is what I love the Total War game for. I have been playing Total War ever since Shogun. I first found it, I was like, what is this game? This game's awesome. It was Shogun Total War, and unless I'm mistaken, that is their very first version. I have played every single Total War game, except I think I skipped Attila and Rome 2. I think I skipped those two. I might have played them a little bit, but for some reason, I kind of lost interest in them, and I don't really know why. Maybe it's just because I really loved, I think that the Shogun 2, the second time that they did that game, the Shogun 2, that was the best game that they have made. It had a great mix of, you know, kind of medieval agey troops with bow and arrows and horses, but then they also had the gunpowder units in there too in the later expansions, and I think that is the best version of the game that they have done to date. Napoleon is probably my second favorite. There's just something about lines of troops shooting each other that fascinates me. I don't know what it is about that. You know, I'm so glad I was not a soldier. You know, and that's part of why I like zooming in. Like, could you imagine being a soldier in real life and running, you know, being in the front line of one of those armies, whether or not you have a musket or a sword, running at the enemy, you know, who is facing you with a wall of pikes, or a wall of spears, or a wall of swords, whatever it is. It's like, I don't know, like, there is something about that era that is just fascinating and gruesome, and the combat was crazy, and I think that draws me to these types of games. That's might be why, I don't know, I really love the Napoleon War with the camera shaking, with the cannons booming. It was awesome. It kept me entertained, but for some reason it was really hard for me to get into the Rome. I never really got I played the original Rome Total War, but I didn't really play any of the anything since Rome 2, and then I believe they had Attila, unless I'm mistaken there, but those are the two that I skipped out on. But I was talking with a couple of my buddies on Steam, and you know, we talked about Magic and how we both loved, we were a huge fan of the Total War series in the past. We absolutely loved the Magic, or not Magic. We loved the old Warfare, and while we both loved this fantasy, we didn't like the Magic so much. It makes the game feel like there's just one too many things to manage. You know, it's already really hard to manage your entire army, especially some of the bigger armies like the Skaven, who are just hordes. They fill up the battle with, you know, a horde of troops. It's like when I'm playing with my lizardmen campaign here, it's like, you know, 400 versus 2,000, and sometimes I still manage to come out on top. It is just a huge, and trying to manage something like that is hard. And then you mix in magic, and some units have special abilities. That kind of thing is hard. While I don't think the magic totally sways the tide of the battle, you have a limit to the magic, you know, based on the winds of magic or whatever you call it. You have a limit to the amount of magic that you can do in each battle, and, you know, they all have a certain cost. That's not what bothers me so much. What does bother me is it just feels like it's one too many things to manage in real time. In Legendary, you cannot pause the game. Remember, you can't even slow down the game. You're stuck. Like, you can pause it and get to the menu, but you can't issue orders in the pause mode. That's a huge deal for Legendary. And I feel like it's just a little bit too hard. There's just one too many things to manage with that. And I'm getting better at it. The more that you know and not have to read about what a spell does or what your army does, the faster you become at doing that stuff in real time. But I don't know. Like, I feel like they also turned up the magic and the abilities in Warhammer 2. I'm scared. I'm kind of scared about the future of this series because, I mean, are they making it more for little kids that get to cast more spells and more attractive that way because it's less strategic? And I don't know, you still have to play the battle right. You still have to outsmart the enemy. You still have to do timely and precision magic strikes. You can't just do them willy-nilly. So there is still the tactical and the strategic element to the game, but it just feels like they made it a little bit too much more for kids, and it feels slightly more arcade-ish, if you guys know what I mean. But beyond all of that, it is a great game. What makes this game is, of course, the mix of turn-based elements. You have to have strategy, long-term strategy for your turn-based elements. It isn't as deep as something as Civilization. I would absolutely love, this game would probably be my favorite game of all time if they mixed a little bit deeper on the Civilization building. So something like Civilization 6, and, you know, they had something like, you know, a culture track, or, you know, they made the technology a little bit more in where you had to invest more into your technology. And I don't know, it's if they did something like that and made that side of the game a little bit deeper, this game would be probably my favorite game of all time without a doubt. But it's just the turn-based element always feels like it's just there with just enough strategy to get you by to the battles. I mean, I'm not saying it's not strategic. It is. You can definitely mess up on that side of the battle map, but it just always feels like it's more about positioning for war and positioning your troops around on that campaign map and then fighting the battles, instead of something like Civilization where you're building a race or a civilization and expanding from there with strategy. It just, like I said, I'm not saying it doesn't have strategy, I do love the strategy that it does have. You can definitely get outsmarted on the campaign map by someone who is more strategic long-term than you. And that there are difficult decisions to make. Where do I build this building? So it kind of has that element where you always have more that you want to do than you can do. And that's what makes a good strategy game. Choices. You have to make hard choices in the game. I just don't feel like there's enough of them, if that makes sense. I keep going back to Civilization 6 because that's probably one of the best examples of a turn-based strategy game that I can think of off the top of my head, where it's complex and it's deep, but granted it has to be because you don't have the strategic element of the battles. I think that I like Total War series a lot more than any other games because I love getting up close and seeing that heavy cavalry charge, you know, blast into the enemy lines and sending them flying. I love that, and I love the strategic element that that tactical map gives you. I love tactics. I love that element of the game. And games like Civilization 6 or the Total War, or not Total War, the Ultimate General series gives you the tactics of it, but it doesn't let you zoom in and see it. That's part of the reason why I love the Total War series, and it kind of encompasses a little bit of everything that I love, which is why this is one of my absolute favorite games right now. But I think that they could just make it a little bit better. I would love to see more depth in the campaign, and love to see, you know, just a little bit harder, a few more decisions to make, maybe a few more layers of depth there. And anyway, I think that just about concludes my thoughts and complaints about this game. That covers what I absolutely love about the game. It covers the few things that I don't like about the game. However, in conclusion, you know, the downside of the magic abilities, sometimes you feel like they're destroying your army, but they really aren't. If a well-placed magic ability can turn the tide, however, but you know, you just kind of have to take that into contingency plan. You have to have reserves. You have to protect your flanks no matter what. The same tactics are still there, but I'm not a huge fan of the magic, but it doesn't destroy the game for me. I know for some people they're a little bit more averse to it, but it doesn't destroy the game because there is no other game out there that lets you have the strategic campaign map combined with the up close and personal tactics where you actually get to see the visuals of the awesome combat that this game has to offer. And so, you know, that's kind of my conclusion. It's maybe another game will top this series one day. Maybe another game will have something that has a lot more depth like Civilization. So, who knows? Maybe that's where Civilization is going. I seriously doubt it. But if Civilization had a game where you could mass armies like this and you had that very deep layer of complex city building with the real-time army tactics, I think that would be absolutely amazing. But they don't have that. They have this, and this is one of my favorite games right now. It is of 2017. Let's see, did Farming Simulator come out in 2016? I don't think so. It came out in 2016. Yeah, 2016. So of 2017, this is my game of the year. This is my absolute favorite game. I can't believe I didn't buy it sooner. I think I got a little bit stale of the magic in Warhammer 1, and well, no, that wasn't actually true. I got frustrated because I always play in Legendary. So in Warhammer 1, I beat the Dwarves campaign on Legendary. And then I tried several other campaigns. Oh, that's right. I tried the, what is it? Not the Curse, the Chaos. I tried the Chaos campaign on Legendary. I got so far. I got so close. I conquered the entire northern end of the map in Chaos. I just could not close it out. I got stuck. There were a couple times when they cornered me. I was able to get out of it. With the Chaos Army, it kind of lets you retreat a little bit and kind of recover, and you can rebuild your army because you don't have to have, it's not like you have a capital building that you always have to defend and look out for. It's, in a lot of ways, it's actually easier, but I just couldn't make that final push and conquer the rest of the map. And so for that reason, I don't know, I think I just kind of got frustrated and stopped playing it. But, you know, since I started playing this again, I love all the races on the new Total War. I haven't played them all. I played the High Elves, and that campaign on Legendary is actually really tough because, for me at least, you're right there in the middle. You start off kind of, I don't know, the Lizardmen, it's a little bit easier because you start off, it's a little bit more secluded. You kind of only have the Skaven to fight, and it's only the Skaven from one direction. I found it a little bit easier. So if you're looking for a legendary challenge, I would highly recommend starting with the Lizardmen with the champion that I started with. I forget his name, Kolak or something like that. No, I think that's the Chaos Lord. But anyway, yeah, I recommend starting with that Chaos Lord if you do Chaos. Oh man, I love this game. I love playing as the Lizardmen and fighting these battles, and it's a lot of fun. I love my little Lizardmen. I didn't expect them to be my favorite army. I typically steer towards humanistic armies because I can kind of identify with them a little bit more. So I really enjoyed the High Elves, the Chaos. Well, that's kind of the opposite of how I am in real life. But I did enjoy, you know, it was based on humans, and those Chaos Warriors were so tough. I loved those. But I love playing, you know, I haven't touched the Mortal Empires campaign map yet. I'm really enjoying this Vortex map, and I'll jump over to the Mortal Empires later. That's just a massive map with too many races to choose from. That is also a phenomenal thing, and the fact that you get that Mortal Empires campaign map with either of the games adds so much replayability. I can't wait to play that. Like, the more I just sit here talking about the game, I want to play it more and more and more, and it's kind of a shame that the Farming Simulator expansion is coming out soon. Otherwise, I would do more videos on Total War Warhammer 2. This game, you guys, it's awesome. I love games that combine, well, there's no other game, I've already said it before. I'll stop rambling. There's no other game that combines the up-close and personal tactical ability where you get to see these explosions and your men flying through the air and your men beating off, you know, with the tactics of that level on the over. So like Ultimate General, like I said, it allows you the tactical part, but it doesn't let you see those cool explosions and guys running into each other and the actual combat. it does have the tactics though there. So if you are disappointed with the Magic and Total War Warhammer 2 and are looking for a new game that has that ultimate strategy and ultimate tactical layer, then I highly recommend Ultimate General Civil War. However, it doesn't have the strategy city building side of the game that Total War Warhammer does. And that's why I'm loving it so much. Just to recap for the 5th time, it has the best of both worlds that I don't find in any other game. And, well, there you go. That's why I love it so much. I'm really enjoying this game. I cannot recommend it enough. If you have ever thought about trying the Total War series, yeah, I wouldn't be scared of the Magic. Like I said, it can turn the tide, but you still have to have reserves. You still have to have your flanks covered. You still have to have, what are some other tactics? You still have to worry about the hills, the terrain. If you lose the battle, Magic is not going to make up for it. However, the Magic might have the turning tide. And it's still a rock, paper, scissors game of, you have to worry about the huge beasts, for example, that can totally destroy and wreck a single unit. Well, I mean, yeah, they might be able to destroy and wreck a single unit, but what's happening on the rest of the battlefield while that's happening? In some ways, they're almost a good distraction if they're on the other side, because they think that, hey, this huge unit, I'm going to wreck you with. Well, if you send a troop of nobodies to try to tie down that unit, then they might destroy your one unit, but you could win the entire rest of the battle while that one chaotic huge unit is tied up, unless they pull them out and try to flank you or do something like that. And then that just goes into contingency plans, and you always have to be thinking about keeping your flanks protected and making sure they're not circling around behind you. So again, that's just normal tactics. It's still the same old rock, paper, scissors. There's certain units that counter those epic units, those huge units. It's just another layer of strategy in the game. That doesn't bother me as much as the Magic. But like I said, for the 20th time, even the Magic doesn't bother me because it allows you to make up for it. Anyway, that concludes everything. That concludes my review. I hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe for more content, and thanks for watching. Until next time, have a great day.